Rosko, welcome to 10 Questions, my friend.
Jimmy, thank you so much. I'm honored to even be on here. So I truly appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
No, it's all good, brother. You know I love you. I thought it was time that we introduced the 10 Questions audience to the man, myth, the legend, Geek Out with Rosko. And so, Rosko, we're going to jump right into this thing, brother. So 10 questions. First question is always the same. What or who got you into collecting?
All right. So I'm gonna, it goes back to Mama Rosko, my mom. To be honest with you, when I was a kid, she took us a bunch of us to the library so we'd read. So that's how I got more into, but I got more into cartoons, and stuff like that. So, but she was the first one to ever give me my first book. And I didn't get it from an LCS or off a newsstand. I have it right next to me, honestly, if you want to see it.
I'd love to see it. Absolutely.
So it was at a doctor's office, and she was like, I was going to leave, and she goes, "No, just take it with you." And I've had the same one ever since. This Captain America versus the Asthma Monster.
That's awesome.
It was your physician, like your physician. I got this, and so it was in his, and she's like, just take it. Just take it. It's okay. He's got plenty, So that was my first actual book. I still have it. I still love it. But also my pops, my dad had taken me to. Okay, so it wasn't really a comic book shop. It was like a store that had comic books.
Sure.
So when I would see him, he would take me. He would like pick up, stuff like a soda or something like that, and then there'd be some comic books, so I would grab a couple, and so that's how I kind of got into it. And Spider-Man is my dude. That's who I fell in love with. So yeah, man, that's about it. But yeah, I gotta say it, my mom probably she was the first one to give me my first book in my collection ever.
So what was it like? I know, like I've said it on here 1,000 times, like what was it for you that like drew you into that medium? Like for me, it was initially it was the cover, right? Like the cover art, because that's what you saw. And I had the same thing. I didn't have an LCS. I mean, hell, right now the closest LCS is an hour from me where I sit right now. So we didn't have an LCS around. It was the supermarket. You go to the store, your mom would go shopping, you'd stand at the magazine rack or whatever and read. But like that's what drew me to it initially, was just like the cover art. Like what was it for you that kind of drew you into the medium?
It was the cover. It was art, because ever since I could hold a pencil, I've been drawing. I've been drawing my entire life. So that's one thing also about me. I am an artist. So, but yeah, the cover artwork. I mean, the colors. First off, I mean, attract you, but then you see these fantasy, that someone actually drew that, and like so, like you said, the cover immediately draws me. Like I said, being an artist, like I've been drawing since like I said, I could hold a pencil. So, artwork definitely drew me in, and still with comic books today, I need to have some decent artwork in some of the books. I mean, dialogue can go so far, but if I'm reading a book, I need to, have some good artwork, or just some decent artwork at least.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, as far as like the way that you collect or the way that you consume comic books, like I am a reader. Like I love it. Like I'm getting ready to go on this quest. I bought a bunch of these paperback versions of the Star Wars Old Republic books yesterday.
Oh,
and I'm getting ready to go on this quest where I'm going to attempt to read all the Star Wars books in chronological order. Or I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I mean, hell, there's like 170. Like, I mean, it's insane how many books there are. But I bought like all the Old Republic books yesterday in paperback version. So I am a reader probably first. Like as far as the way that you collect, like do you like to read? Are you a reader that collects, or are you a collector who occasionally reads?
Okay, so all right, that's a great question, because what got me back into collecting was actually variant covers, and I was collecting them because of the artwork and wasn't reading as much. As I got more into it, like that was 2018 when I got back into it. So, but the last like two years, I want to say last 2.5 years, I've really started reading. reading a lot more. And New Comic Book Day, it just beats the hell out of my wallet, man. So I decided to read a lot more digitally, and then collect the ones that I think that are like that I want in my PC. But yeah, I've been reading a lot more indies. Indies have got me more into reading. That is for sure. Ever since I started reading indies, more indie books, and getting acquainted with like other studios, other companies outside of like Image and Boom, say AWA Upshot, some of those guys. What's the other one? I'm slipping here. They had Bad Idea. They had some good ones in there. But these other ones that were like these independent companies have got me reading way more than Marvel and DC has ever done.
It's interesting you say it because I do this segment called First Appearances and Key Issues for New Comic Book Day, and one of the reasons I started doing that was because I was going through and looking anyway, and I was looking for something else to read, right? Because I'm a New Comic Book Day junkie too, and because I don't know, I mean, I know this might be unpopular opinion day or whatever, but like the older stuff's harder to read at times. Like it's insanely wordy, it's very campy. I still enjoy it. I enjoy reading it. I enjoy the artwork. I enjoy the old ads. I enjoy all that stuff. But as far as like quality of story, the smell, the paper smell. I mean, there's just something to it. But when I started doing that, it introduced me to a lot of different publishers: Antarctic Press, Xenoscope, AWA Upshot. You mentioned there's a lot of them, and so like, what's one indie company that like surprised you outside the big two that you found? Is it AWA? Because I really dig their stuff.
AWA is fantastic, and I really love that a lot. They're miniseries. They're like no more than 4 issues per volume. I really, but I got it. But Boom, because I'm such a big Something Is Killing the Children fan. So Boom has really surprised me. But Image, Image, I don't even, I really can't, there's a really bait here with Image. I think Image honestly needs to be a big 3. Has to.
I do too.
They constantly are putting out great stories. Their stuff is phenomenal. And the thing is with Image, they're going to have an Image verse. There's no doubt about it. They have to. They have McFarlane of all people. They have McFarlane who's still doing Spawn. But there's so much that's with the crossover stuff that they're doing too. All these characters and stuff that they've created. I don't understand. They need to be like, it needs to be a big 3 now. I'm sorry.
I don't disagree. What's it called? It's the Power Rangers-esque book. Shoot. Why can't I think of this right now? I've got a copy of Radiant Black.
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah. Yep.
And, they're kind of building out of that. And I think they're going to build this massive universe. I think that's going to be, I don't know. Like I said, I agree. Image is one of my favorites. Scout's another one for me. Like Scout's kind of weird, but I dig weird at times.
Me too, man. I'm a big, so that's how I collect a lot of weird books. I just posted one the other day. I like to get stuff that people I don't think I've ever heard of or seen. And here, I'm gonna show you one more thing. Here's another example of something just weird and bizarre. This is Big Bird versus Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's awesome.
This is an actual comic book. It's when you say weird, I'm on board. I love the weird stuff. So that's when you're collecting, that's how you have to learn how to be the collector that you're going to be. And I think that takes time. I don't think you get into collecting and going, hey, this is what I'm going to start doing, because I think after a while you go, okay, well, I do like that, but I'm really enjoying this because I started collecting this, and then you branch out. Like the nostalgic, my nostalgic bone has been hit, or my collecting bone. Like I've been picking up nostalgic books like crazy. So
Well, Brock, do you know Brock Morgan? Do you know who Brock is?
I don't know. I don't think
Brock
so.
has a channel. He does a lot of mystery box stuff, and I had him on 10 Questions. He was one of the first people I met, kind of, when I got into the YouTube thing, and he calls it comic book ADD because you're here, you're there, you're here, you're there.
Oh, yeah.
You don't ever seem to really get anywhere. And you're right. It is really, and let's make that question too. You said you kind of got back into it at 18, and my collecting habit like changes constantly. Like, as far as I want to do this, like I'm picking up, a run of these books. Well, no, now I want to do this,
Right.
it kind of goes back and forth. And when I started out, I was buying a lot of new comic book day stuff, a lot of variants, was buying pretty much everything that came out. Like, how has your collecting changed? So let's say 18 up into, now 22.
Well, like I was saying, I've, like how you said, you can be all over the place, and there's certain things that you may complete a run. You know what I mean? So that's how it could also, another way to change is that you can complete your run or something that you're looking to get. So then you try to challenge yourself. Sometimes people challenge themselves to find something else, like, oh man, well, that's kind of rare. But let's see if we can find this, So I could see where you could be all over the place, but the way, okay, so for my change from 2018 to now is, well, definitely I have, my spending has cut, down tremendously, because when I first started to get back into it, I'd have variant covers destroyed me, man. I'd have like 5 of the same book, and I'm like, I have all like these different variant covers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I wasn't even reading half of the books. You know what I mean? Like, it was just wild. So, so I've become a little bit smarter with my money. That's one thing. But no, I've actually gone back and noticed there's books that I didn't know came out to be comic books. Stuff that I used to watch growing up, like cartoons, and I have props here. Can you believe this?
Absolutely, I love
it. So here's one. I don't know. Something I used to watch when I was a kid was Camp Candy. John Candy's cartoon, but this is issue number 1. So this is something I had to get for my PC, So I've really switched from getting a lot more like new comic book day and variants to where I'm like searching for these nostalgic books, such as like Gargoyles. So I like the 80s, 90s cartoons growing up. But I'm a big cartoon fan. So I'd have to say a lot of my, from 18 to 22, I've really have just slowed down on variants, picking and choosing certain variants and like certain artists. Like I'm a big Scotty Young fan. So usually I'm looking for Scotty Young variants. That's basically around that now. Yeah, I've grown more to searching, like I said, the nostalgic stuff that just makes me, it just makes you feel a certain way, and so that's what I'd have to say is it went from getting like 100 new comic book day books to now like searching for these just like I got recently like Mortal Kombat, Double Dragons, so stuff like that, So
sure.
It's definitely have switched completely. But
well, no, and I think we all kind of go through that. I mean, your story and mine are very similar, right? And like I seek out books. Like I love the television show Alf, right? So I sought out Alf comic books. Just Masters of the Universe. Things like that. And I want to make that question 3 awesome. I love it. I love it. So I want to make this question 3 is, and I find this interesting based on age range, is what cartoons, what TV shows bring that nostalgia from you? You tell me yours, and then I'll tell you mine.
Oh gosh, so I am a big cartoon nut. Like like above me up here, above my shoulder up here. That's Darkwing Duck issue number 1. I'm but Darkwing Duck is one of my favorite cartoon shows. I did love Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers, and that movie was freaking awesome. I don't know if you saw it, but highly recommend. Highly recommend. That was great. But I mean, Darkwing is my guy though. Like that's like one of my favorites. But I have so many, Jimmy. Let me tell you, brother. I have so many. I don't know, man. I can go on for days, but
give me your top three. Like what? Like Darkwing outside of Darkwing Duck. Like, give me your top three. Like, what are probably your top three, cartoons or shows, like, as you were growing up that you just love today?
I mean, Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. I have all those on DVD. So, that's, Monterey Jack is one of my favorites. So, Gargoyles, like I just showed, that was another, I thought was a really cool show. And I really want that to be like a movie or live action. Like I would love to see that. Number three. I'm gonna have to say I got to go with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, hands down. X-Men is up there too, the animated series, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was something that I would always watch. I actually have the whole right here is the whole box set of all the cartoon, and it's in the actual van. So it's in the turtle van.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then right above it is my Michelangelo 3,000 piece thing. So, but yeah, I'm a big Turtles fan, so I got to put Turtles up there too.
For me, because like I'm my age, I miss Turtles, right? Like that was when how everybody goes through the process of you're into stuff, and you get a little older, it becomes about girls and beer and other things, sports.
Right.
The other stuff that you do, and you kind of move away. So, like for me, and that's the thing, I tell people, nobody's watching this. 10 questions is almost kind of like therapy for me. Like sometimes as I'm going through things, I can, have somebody on and we can talk it out. Like I'm going through this now to where, like, I love my superhero stuff, right? Like I love Superman, easily my favorite character of all time. I love Spidey. I love Hulk. I love Batman. I love Firestorm. I love Hawkman. I love all these guys. But what you said earlier really hits for me is it's a whole lot of nostalgia because I'm going through this thing where I want to, like, He-Man was huge for me. Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, Star Wars. Now, I miss the whole X-Men thing, and I miss the Ninja Turtles was probably starting, like, right as I was getting out. But the X-Men animated series, I've never even seen an episode of it. Like, I don't even, I'm not a big X-Men guy. I love the movies, and I'll watch a cartoon from time to time if it's on, but that's not necessarily my thing. I'm more DC. And so I keep kind of going through this where, I got the pull of the superheroes, but I really want to go back here and really, like, grab all the G.I. Joes, all the Star Wars. And that's what I told you, like, and hell, I got to be honest, I'm watching Obi-Wan on Disney Plus, like that is my genre of Star Wars, right? Like the original Star Wars. Basically, if Darth Vader shows up, shows up, I'm in. And with Obi-Wan, it kind of brought that back, and I started looking, and I was like, damn, I really want to try to read the books, the novels. And so I started looking. I didn't realize there was like that many, and I thought, well, all right, I got to have a plan. So I started looking at the chronological order of it, and I thought, well, Old Republic is not in canon, but it's kind of before everything else, and there's a chance it could be canon at some point, and there's some really solid books in there. So anyway, it's like I said, it's like therapy for me to talk to people because I'm kind of going through this collecting thing, and I think I mentioned Brock Morgan when I had him on. I was kind of going through the same thing where I was trying to like right now I'm collecting Jack Kirby's Fourth World Run, basically Mr. Miracle, Forever People, New Gods, who else? Superman's Jimmy Olsen. Like I'm putting that run together, the Fourth World, and that's something I love. Do you have like awesome. I guess have you gotten into the old stuff like comic book wise? Like based on the show, have you gotten into the old stuff like Silver Age, Golden Age, things like that, or are you still kind of more with this modern?
Okay, so most of my collection is modern. But I've recently, I have a few like pretty cool like Silver Age books. So, but they just by the time I was really looking into getting any of those, the price of those were just astronomical. So But I do try to look for them, like if I'm at flea markets or if I go to like an antique shop or anything. I'm always looking, and so but if I can find one for a decent price, that's it. I would, definitely, yeah. But I try to get also like the cartoon, like the Gold Key. I always look for those in the so those those old school cartoon books as well. So those are more like I think I just recently got Super Goof. I got so yeah. So I've been looking at those, but depends on what it is. I don't collect a lot of, but like if it's Spider-Man, or if it's like if it's a known key, of course I
you'll grab it, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean but basically, like I said, a lot of my collection is modern. So because that's how I started getting into it.
So really for you on the cartoon stuff, it's really like almost like Disney, kind of those old Disney shows. What about like am I saying that right? I mean, like Darkwing Duck, you've got, Chip and Dale's. So is Disney like a big thing for you as far as like, the mouse himself, or is it more just these specific characters that you just love?
Disney's cool. I mean, Disney puts out phenomenal stuff, but it's a lot with these characters. A lot of the characters that they've created in their Disneyverse, it's just I've grown attached to a lot of them. Especially growing up. For example, like Jim Cummings. I don't know if you know any voiceover, but Jim Cummings does. He does Darkwing Duck. He does Monterey Jack. He does like a lot of characters that I grew up loving. Like he does Tigger and Pooh. He does all these, he's done so many voices over the years. It's insane. But yeah, I've grown a lot of I don't know if it's maybe because of his voice, but a lot of the characters he's done, I've grown to. Like, it's weird, but yeah, I mean, but I love all the, like you're about to say, like Looney Tunes. I'm all in on Looney Tunes. Any Warner Brothers stuff. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like Animaniacs and stuff like that. Like I just posted Pinky and the Brain issue #1. You know what I mean? So I'm like I said, if cartoon related, I'm usually all in. I just recently kind of got into the whole anime. I know that's way different, but I'm like I said, yeah, Tom and like I think you were about to say Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry, yeah.
Bugs Bunny. I'm a big Taz fan. Like Space Jam was amazing, by the way.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, I cartoons. I'm all in Cartoon Network. Nickelodeon. Like Rocco's Modern Life, Ren and Stimpy. I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter if it's just Disney. Disney has a lot, and I think it's funny that you pointed out that I was mainly talking about Disney, but I love, the whole realm, like all cartoons. So, but yeah, cartoons have always spoke to me. I mean, and that's my drawing style,
Well,
so
that's what I was going to ask, and we're going to make this question for is like the love of the cartoons. Like, just as I've taught you here, and I tell people it's like, a little inside baseball. Like I have questions ready when I start these interviews, right? But I've literally asked you one that I have on my list right now because of the conversation. Like it's interesting. And I told Rosko before we came on here is that I know Rosko. I love Rosko. He's my people. I consider him people. I never spoke to the man in my life outside of being on Spintex. But I didn't know a ton about him. And so as we've kind of got talking here and kind of really diving into what you dig and what you collect, I find that fascinating. Like, because it's a little different than anybody that's really been on here. In the sense that it's more, there you go. Well, it's more of the cartoon based. And that's what makes this question for is, do you believe your love of the cartoon and comes from your love of art, essentially, that the fact that you love to draw, is that what draws you to the cartoon medium?
Yeah, absolutely, because again, my artistic style is more, it's not realist, it's more cartoonish. And the thing is that a lot of my creations and stuff that I draw, a lot of it is cartoon. I try to, like, I put things together to make, certain, things that people haven't seen. For example, just Cole from Cole
Cole's Comic
Links. Yeah, Cole, great guy. He had me do a couple commission pieces, and he had a Spider-Man cover, and he said, "Hey, a lot of people let me do my own thing, which is I absolutely love. It's really cool. But they'll just give me one direction, and he'll be like, all right, well, here's 4 villains. I pick one of these 4 villains and put your own spin on it." So I said, okay, no problem. I'm all in. So I picked Vulture. I've never drawn Vulture in my life, but I picked Vulture, and I had the idea to make him as Herbert the Pervert from Family Guy. The guy in the robe, the old man. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
Yeah.
So I made him into Vulture. So that's like where, like, my but like, my love of cartoons, I've loved them ever since I was a kid. And it has played out on like when my drawing technique. And so I think those worlds have collided, and that's why I'm just more in on cartoons than anything. But I just, I remember, you ready for this? I remember sneaking down. There was a cartoon. It was a little more mature. It was called Fish Police. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I know that one I haven't heard of.
Yeah, I know a lot of people haven't, because he used to come on like super late. I used to remember sneaking down and watching it, and it was not even like that great of a show, but it was just a cartoon, and I was like, well, if it's on late, it must be really good.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, but it's
like Cinemax at night.
Yeah, for cartoons, weirdos like me. But yeah, like it's, I just, my love of cartoons has fallen into my artwork as well as my collecting.
Well, let's make this question 5, and I want to talk about your artwork a little bit.
Okay.
So I always find it interesting, because I tell people, like, I can actually draw a little bit, right? But I have to look at something. I can copy it. I cannot like come up with something original in my head and then put it on paper. Now, that may be from a lack of practice, right? It wasn't something that I used to draw a lot when I was a kid. I mean, I live in Eastern Kentucky. There wasn't a ton to do. So you would find stuff to do. You would start, I would draw some, but I was always looking at something, and I could look at it and draw it. Like, I mean, and draw it, which I'm sure is it's a talent, just to be able to do that. But what I find the most impressive is when somebody can take something that's here and put it on paper. Like for you, kind of take me through, and I know this is probably a long-winded question, and that's okay. I want it to be. Or, I mean, it's going to be a long-winded answer is what I meant to say. Was kind of take me through, like, as you started to draw and kind of how that's changed for you over time. Like, did you take classes? Is this something that's just self-taught where you just sat and did it? Kind of talk about that.
Okay, so like I said, no lie, as soon as I could hold a pencil, I was drawing. And I've always drawn. Like I've always been drawing since I was a kid. And I mean, like my grandmother still has some of the stuff I've drawn. Like it's like crazy, like these little goofy cartoon people. But that's the thing. I would just, growing up, I didn't have a cell phone or a computer to go and look at these things. Like they may be in a magazine, or it was something that I saw on television, and couldn't pause the TV to see what you know what I mean. So
sure.
So growing up, like like how you said, you'd have to imagine certain things. So growing up, I used to draw like, it's funny. I used to draw these like muscle, like these big muscle men. And but they still would kind of be, whoa, that was weird. Oh, they'd still be cartoony. When I draw I draw these characters and guys, and like I said, there still would be a cartoon, feel. But growing up, I loved art classes. That was one of the classes I looked forward to besides recess. Was art class, and then getting into high school. I kind of broadened my horizon, and I tried to try different types of mediums. And I actually tried Airbrush, which was very difficult. Gosh, let me tell you, I actually did I did this huge shirt. I showed it on Cardboard Crazy's channel, but it's a Johnny Unitas, and I did a big helmet, like his head in a helmet, and it like was this giant white shirt, and I did the spray paint for that. So, but anyway, so I tried to do different things, charcoal, watercolor, painting. I did all these in high school, and I just tried to do different stuff just to, get to, new art and stuff. And so art really always was something a part of me. So going into college, I actually took I just took so many art classes, just because I was so obsessed with with learning new mediums, and then I got into, because computers and stuff, I got into the computer aspect and tried to do digital stuff, and it was not at all, like what, growing up and like everything using your hands. It's crazy because like I like to hand draw. Like, I don't know what it is. I've been doing it for over 30 something years. So, I mean, it's like, that's something that I've, it's part of me. So,
Sure.
So digital stuff I can do, but it's not my cup of tea, but getting into, how I am now, I have a disease called psoriatic arthritis, and it is, I'm at a very, very horrible progression where my hands have actually become crippled. So if people are like, well, why do you keep drawing? Go to digital. And I'm like, because I if I can still hold this pencil, I'm going to continue to keep going.
Absolutely.
And it's just something that's, it's just a fire in me, that's like, and I've, in 2020 during the pandemic, I fell in love with actually creating blank covers. And that's what I've been doing a lot for the community. And my first one that I did, I drew Wolverine, and I donated it to an Instagram auction for this woman who had lost her husband to COVID and stuff, and so they were doing a charity auction to help the family. So that was the first cover that I ever did, and I was just like, because I had so many for like conventions and stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't think I'm going to be using these 70 blank covers I have here.
Right.
Like, what? So let me start. So I started doing my own thing, and it was a wrap. I love doing it, making these custom covers. I just did one for Nick's Kicks. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's just now that's like been my thing. So, but yeah, I did go to school for artwork. Like I said, I went to school for a few years for just like trying out, like, doing color and design. Like this is like the under like, learning all these different colors and what colors go together, and different, like, and then like going into stuff like fabrics and just learning how to use like different, just like all these different things. So college was really cool. So to even broaden my horizon on all this different types of artwork. And so I need to get back into that though, like watercolor and charcoal. I definitely I need to get back into that, because that stuff was cool. So
that always, it amazes me, because it really does. People who are artistic like that, and all these different things that you can try, and the digital aspect of it, because you're seeing a lot of it with comic books today. A lot of the art is digital art now, and if you read it digitally, it pops way more than it does if it's on the page, because of how it was designed.
Exactly.
Do you, like, you had talked about reading some stuff digitally, but like when it comes to the art stuff, I know you said you prefer to draw, right? So that's your favorite way to do it, right? Is just to draw. No matter what. Do you use markers, pens, pencil? Like, I mean, all the above, like
all of it. Yep. Yeah. I use it all. I use pencil is what I use first, because like I said, with my hands being so bad, I definitely have to do pencil first, because sometimes my hands will be like, they'll just do a little like, oh, and I'll be like, oh shoot, erase.
Right. You gotta go fix that.
Right. But no, I use pencil, and then I use a pen. Most of the time I use my favorite kind of pens, which are my man Austin LeMay can vouch for, microns. Microns are one of my best friends. I do that. I usually, and then I'll do, I use marker a lot of times. And then I've learned, so this is what I've learned within the last just like year and a half or so, is incorporating colored pencil into over the marker to give it more of an effect and give this more of a like a real, like not realistic, but like more of like this 3D feel where like a, you know, where you can, like with a black color pencil, I can go over this corner and make it look like it's more rounded and not just like this straight line, you know. So I'm, you know, as I'm drawing more and, you know, now I'm learning as I go on. I'm still learning, you know, so I'm
awesome.
Loving it. Yeah.
That's so cool. No, that's very cool. Because I think when I watch Spine Ticks and you're on there, you're basically drawing the whole time. You know, you're just sitting there drawing. And, you know, and well, Austin LeMay does the same thing, you know, who I love. I love Austin.
Oh, yeah.
And
Austin's great.
Every time he's on a live stream, he's just sitting there drawing. You know,
Austin LeMay right here.
Yeah,
Something's Killing the Turtles.
Something's Killing the Turtles. That's so classic. I absolutely love that. All right, so let's move on to question 6. And I do, if you don't mind to talk about this, I do want to talk about it. And that is the arthritis diagnosis that you have. Can you kind of tell people like what that is? Like, when did it start? Like, what exactly is the diagnosis?
Okay, so it's you know, a form of arthritis, but it's psoriatic arthritis. So it's like psoriasis, but it's more intense. It like inflames the skin. You know, so you know, it gets like flaky and red and like it just irritates. Sometimes it burns. So that's not fun. But what's even worse is the arthritis. I've been dealing this, for probably around maybe almost 15 years now. I've been dealing with this 15 years, and it's a compound disease, which means it's 2 different diseases that make up one. And within the last 20 years or so, they pharmaceutical companies, doctors and stuff have now been seeing a lot of these diseases that are compound diseases that are taking 2 and they're just more intense together than they are separate. Sure. And that's what sucks. And so for the past 15 years, I've honestly have been a guinea pig for different medications. Some are good. You know, they last for, you know, a few months. And then I, you know, there's ones that I've actually were on for like over a year that were great. And then for some reason, my body just rejects it. So I'm now on, it's got to be my 9th medication that I've been on. And I've been on it for almost a year. It's been doing okay. So, you know, but thank God now this one is only a pill. Everything I've had to take up to this has been like shots. Oh. And I've had to like inject like 2 shots every like every week, every 2 weeks. But there was also a time where I was doing an infusion, which is like, for example, if people know like kidney dialysis, where they, you know, you sit in the chair and they just pump you, you know, and you just sit there and you just, I mean, that one worked for over a year. And then my body rejected it, and it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. My throat closed up. I went into convulsions, and it was a very scary time. And that was, you know, nothing I want to relive. So, sure. But yeah, I've been dealing with this, but the thing is that I have it more progressed at my age, which I shouldn't have it. But what happens is the joints start to deteriorate. And you actually lose mobility because when your joint makes things move, and if you don't have a joint there nothing's going to move. Right. Everything is just. So what happened was my hand here has now it won't close all the way, So and then this hand won't open all the way. So, but my disease is the rarest, of course. It only attacks certain areas. So it attacks my hands, it attacks my feet, it attacks my back, and attacks my neck. but no lie, like my knees, like people said, oh, well, your knees must be really bad. And I'm like, no, my knees aren't that bad at all. It's like my hands and my, so,
Yeah.
But the name for it is ridiculous, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. But I just recently found out within the last like 2 years that I am at this. This is the one that I actually have. Because like I said, the disease is still, people are, doctors and stuff are still learning. So with this, like, they're like, oh, well, there is different stages of psoriatic arthritis. And I was like, oh, that's great. Okay. So then I come to find out that the one that I have is the most rare and one of the worst ones you can get. So I was like, let's keep it going.
No. Rock and roll. Yeah. Do
Yeah.
they know, do they know if it's like genetic or is it something atmospheric? Like I know here, for whatever reason, and this is odd, like here in Eastern Kentucky, we have seen an increase in autism. And we don't know if it's from like where this was coal mining country, like the dust in the air, or that something atmospherically changed here that's causing this to occur. Like your the arthritis that you have, do they know, is it genetic or do they know?
It's genetic. I mean, I've my family's had arthritis and like rheumatoid arthritis, and everyone has pretty much had it. So, but now, now I have it, but I have it again as like, where I had probably psoriasis going into it as well as this. And that's, and I got it now. So, it's just luck of the draw, but
so it's the arthritis. So you had psoriasis, but the fact that the arthritis came in on top of it, that's what you're saying about the compound part of it. It makes it 10 times worse.
Oh yeah. Well, because they form their own disease.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is all like, I'm still learning about it because, like I said, everyone else is still learning about it. But yeah, it's but there's multiple medications to take that, finally as the years are going, that there's like other options. So now, like I said, I'm on a pill, and I'm like, that's the thank you. Like, I'm just happy to just be able to just take a pill once a day instead of injecting my, my thighs or, having to go and get, this treatment and stuff. So, but yeah, it's like I said, I'm still learning all about it, as time goes on. And, but, I'm part of groups like on Facebook and on Instagram and stuff where there are people that are dealing with it, and like, that are even younger than me that are way worse, which is, I thought I was pretty bad for my age, but, you just never know, it's really sad. So, but again, hey man, I woke up this morning, brother, that's right, and that's it. But hey, positive always is way better than negative. There's other people that are way worse than you. And if you woke up this morning, you can still taste, you can still hear that sweet music, you can still smell that air, and you can still see your loved ones. Let me tell you, that's a great day. You just got to stay positive, brother. That's it.
I love it, dude. That's why you're a superhero, Rosko. Absolutely, man. I love it. I knew you were dealing with that, and thank you for talking with me about that. I knew that you were dealing with it, and the fact that you create the art that you create, even though you struggle with your hands, you are a superhero to me, and I just think that's awesome, dude. So, all right. So now, and I know that's a little more serious, but we'll kind of roll over to question 7 now. Question 7 is kind of a new segment. It's explain this Instagram post, and so I want to put a picture up on the screen here, and I want you to explain this Instagram post. Okay, you ready?
All right. Oh yes. Yes, there he is.
Explain this Instagram post, sir.
Oh my goodness. Oh god, I mean, do I need to? No.
Yes.
No, it's me rocking my Horace Grant goggles. Yeah, I growing up, I'm a huge, I've been playing sports since, like I said, since, I've been drawing since I was can hold a pencil. I've been playing sports ever since I could hold a ball, and pause. No, but yeah, my one of my close friends, Craig, he always is. He's always giving me. He's a big basketball fan. We both are, but he loves playing basketball, and he always gives me, stuff. But he goes, "Yeah, you're like a power bottom." Like I'm like, wait, don't say that, like. But yeah, so I had to put that picture up only because again I showed it on one of my shows called Rosko's Late Night Addiction.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if anyone. I call him South Paul Brad, but I call him Spec Paul Brad. Good people in the community. He's always at, like, I put up pictures before, and he's always at. So I showed that on the channel, and he went nuts. So I was like, let me put it on Instagram and see what the kind of reaction I get from people. So, but yeah, man, now it's me with my Horace Grant goggles and ready to take on whoever wants it.
I loved it, man. I saw that and I was like, yes, because I know you're a big sports guy too, right? So we'll make this question 8 is talk to me, because I'm a massive sports fan too. Obviously, I'm a Kentucky fan. Basketball rules the roost in this state, but we are starting to have a pretty decent football team. And I've had football season tickets for 20 plus years now, and we have sucked the majority of that time, and now we're really good. So sports wise, like what's your favorite sport, or do you love them all?
I guess my favorite sport, I guess, would be football. But you played some football, didn't you? Yeah, I played football. Yeah, I played football, and I was hoping to play football my entire life. I broke my leg in 4 places. I broke my ankle, my tibia, my fibula, and my growth plate all at the same time. And that definitely put a huge damper on playing sports for my entire life. So, but yeah, I ended up finding hockey, and I played hockey, but anyway, I love football, baseball, go Yanks. I love basketball, go Knicks. I love hockey, go Devils. And Giants are probably my number 1 team, though. New York Giants, New York Football Giants are my guys. But I can watch pretty much almost everything. I mean, I'm actually coming to an age now where I can even, like, some golf is all right.
Sure. Well, I like golf on Sunday afternoons if I need to take a nap. There's something incredibly peaceful about watching golf that makes me go to sleep. And it's not like I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing, right? Like it's boring. I actually enjoy because I don't play golf. People would think I would with my business, but I don't. Now, I will go on the golf course and I will drive people around and drink beer. But I am not good at golf unless it's on my phone. Hockey is one of those things that, like I said, we live here. It's always been college centric, right? Because we're Kentucky. We don't have a professional team. Closest teams, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, probably Charlotte, are probably the closest big cities that have professional teams. But hockey is something that I have found, especially playoff hockey, is something that I have started to love. Have you always been a hockey fan, or you said you started to play a little bit, but were you always a hockey fan? I guess where you live, that's kind of, people are hockey fans. Oh yeah,
absolutely. I'm originally from New Jersey, so hockey is definitely, big there. In my area, there were a lot of Philadelphia Flyers fans, which was the worst. But but yeah, no, I absolutely love hockey. I've been playing hockey since I was a kid, but ever since my injury, I really couldn't play football anymore. But I could play goalie, and so that's what I played goalie. My older age. So, but yeah, I playoff hockey, game 7s. Oh my gosh, let me tell you that atmosphere. Woo.
Well, it's so good. And then professional basketball. Now, when I was younger, that was Jordan's heyday. It was kind of towards the end of Bird Magic, Dr. J, kind of into Jordan, Malone, Stockton, Pippen, all those teams that they played, even the Spurs. So Jordan was probably my guy, was my favorite guy. And then I kind of went away from NBA basketball a bit. But now all the Kentucky guys are in the league, right? Since Calipari's been at Kentucky, we have all these guys in the league now. And like the Knicks is my favorite team.
That's right.
We call them the Kentucky Knicks, because
Emmanuel Quickly, baby.
Quickly.
I love him. I love Quickly, man.
Nerlens Noel. Kevin Knox was there for a minute. Julius Randle.
Randall,
you know, all those cats, dude. I love those guys, and so we kind of claim the Knicks here in Kentucky as our team.
Yes, I'll take it. That's awesome.
I'm a huge sports fan. Like, I love it all. There's nothing I don't like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like I can even watch tennis. Tennis is awesome. I mean, like I said, I could probably watch almost every sport. It's just you know, and ESPN is just used to be always on my TV. You know, now I don't really have cable anymore. You know, and now, you know, with cell phones and stuff, I can literally just have it. I open the app up and I'm fine. But like, you know, before, like, ESPN would never leave my like, you turn the TV on, ESPN, turn it off, it was on ESPN. You know what I mean? So, but I'm a major sports fanatic. We just speaking of Kentucky, we just got Robinson, your wide receiver. Yeah, Wandale.
Dude, you're gonna love Wandale.
Oof,
dude, that kid's a beast.
I couldn't believe he was the leading receiver in the SEC.
Yes, dude, he's a beast. And I mean, he was from Kentucky. He grew up down in like central Kentucky, and we were recruiting him, and he went to Nebraska. And he wanted to play wide receiver. Well, there they were playing him running back. He was playing a little bit of wildcat quarterback. And he didn't want to do that. I think Bo Pelini was there at the time. And Stoops and them they kept recruiting him even after he went to Nebraska, and he ended up coming back to Kentucky for a year, and he is a beast. You all are going to love that kid. He's an absolute warrior. He's the guy that'll go over the middle, take the shot, and come up with the ball. Like, I mean, he's a beast. Y'all are going to love him in New York. Like, New York, because I love Wandale. And, you know, we had one of the best years we've had last year. I think we had another 10-win season, beat Iowa, who was a good Big Ten team, you know, in the bowl game. And Wandale, if you go back and watch that game, there's a drive towards the end of the game where Wandale said, "Just give me the ball." And
he had, 4 or 5 catches in a row or something like that?
In a row.
That was insane.
Yep, and just said, "Levis, throw me the ball." And and there you go. So, no, you guys will absolutely love Wandale. And I love Quickly, too. Like, Quickly was one of my favorite cats. I love Quickly.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because, you know, how you're saying Kentucky's become a better football team. Well, you know, because you guys are known as just a basketball school, you know, but now, no lie, your football team has definitely improved tremendously. Your defense, you know, I'm telling you, look out for Kentucky in the SEC. Look out for a lot of these SEC teams. I mean, because the thing is that you play big house teams. Like, if you're playing LSU, you're playing Bama, you're playing these powerhouse, teams that are making the playoffs. Right. So, I mean, like, you know, these teams are going to get better. There's no doubt about it. I mean, because if you're constantly playing these teams that are in the playoffs every year, you're going to find ways to win, and then you're going to study them. Look out for teams in the SEC.
No, we're pumped, man. I say, especially this year. Like, Georgia, we play Georgia every year. Like, we think we're going to play Georgia for the East again this year. You know, I'm not joking. I've had season tickets for 20 years. And my buddy Clayton, he's my best friend, has been since I was this big. When we first got out of college and had a little bit of money, that was one of the first things we bought, right? Because the reason we bought them is not because we love Kentucky football, because we sucked, like really sucked. And it was an excuse to go to Lexington and party and hang out with the girls. Like, I'll never forget this. I don't know if I've told this on here or not. We were playing Tennessee, and we got there a little bit late, right? So we were literally coming up the ramp to our seats as the kickoff was in the air. We walked through the front and stand there. Travis Henry for Tennessee catches the ball and runs it all the way down the field and scores. We just turned around and left. And went to the bar because we knew it was 60-0 at halftime. And now that Stoops has showed up, we recruit different. They've taken on his persona, which is this, you know, grab your lunch pail, put on your boots, let's go to work. They're smash mouth. Their defense is sick. We got Will Levis now, who's projected as a top 5, top 10 pick in the NFL draft next year. Like, we're psyched. Like, we cannot wait I just paid for my tickets the other day. we're pumped to get the new football season started. And I knew you were a huge sports fan. I was like, I can't wait to get there and talk to Rosko. Because that is my other passion. Like, I love comic books. I love everything geek culture, and then sports. And that's what I love. And I collect ball cards too. But I had to take down my collecting of ball cards because it's so expensive now.
Oh,
so
right.
I literally just collect Kentucky guys, usually patch autos, rookie patch autos, and
nice.
I'll get their college, patch auto, and then I'll get their pro, rookie patch auto. And that's generally what. Do you collect any ball cards? Like, do you do any of that, or is it primarily art?
Yeah, no, I do. I used to. I think honestly, in the 90s, 80s, and 90s, I collected more cards than I did comic books at the time. I was more into the sports cards, and I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if anyone's going to remember this, but there were back in the day, like I said, we didn't have the internet or anything, but if you called in, you could get stuff sent to you.
Yes.
Where they had these sports, like these big binders, and then you put these pages in, and it had all the stats of different players. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the name of it, but
I know exactly what you're talking about though, because I've done it.
Yeah. See, so I remember doing that as a kid and stuff, and collecting those because they also, because I remember they had the animals too, you collect animals and stuff, and but I remember they did sports, and I was like, what? I gotta get that, but yeah, but recently I've gotten back into ripping packs, not so much buying, just more of the thrill of opening packs and stuff.
Sure. And
I've gotten into that within the last maybe the last 2 years as well, maybe the last year and a half. But recently I've been Cardboard Crazy's channel. We have a show called The Benchwarmers, and where we open packs or we show off different cards and stuff. And so that's been really fun. Sith does it too on with PSA Tendencies. He shows off his slabs that he gets. But like I said, but recently I've just been buying just packs just to have fun with, nothing crazy. I haven't really hit anything too big. But I did hit one, I'm not going to lie, about a year and a half ago. I went on Instagram, and that's when they were doing the whole hey, buy this pack and see what you get, rip it open, and they rip it for you and you see what you get.
Yeah,
and
right.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So but it was by the pack, so I just bought a pack, and he opens it up, and it was a Tua autograph rookie to, I think it was only to 40, it was only out of 49. So it was an autograph rookie Tua, and so I ended up having them send that to get graded. So that's my only graded card. But we'll see. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that he does really good with Tyreek Hill this year.
Well, the only my biggest hit, who was I watching? Steel City Collectibles out of Pittsburgh, and they were ripping some packs, and they for a while. They would rip these Spectra boxes, and you could pay $60, and then you would get a team. And then they would rip them, and if you got the team, you got the card. And I hit a Patty Mahomes rookie patch auto out of a Spectra box. That's the biggest card I've ever hit, and on a $60 buy-in. That card's worth a couple grand today.
Easily.
And and I still have it. I had it graded. I had them send it off and get it graded. Same thing, and got it back. Came back a 10, and it's a sweet card. So yeah, absolutely. But
all right. I don't want to tell you what I got on my Tua. I'm pissed. I got a 7, and I can't believe it. And it was I don't know. I was so mad. I was like, well, never send anything to PSA again.
No, it is aggravating because, I collected cards back in the day. I've said it many times. My uncle, who was the guy that sold at the flea markets and stuff, him and my dad would work me to death for a box of basketball cards. I was so stupid. I would just, I hadn't figured it out yet. I just wanted the cards, right? And but I ended up getting them because that year that I kind of really was working, I think I got 10 boxes of 86 Fleer basketball. And I have an insane amount of Jordan rookie cards.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I have an insane amount. I probably have sitting in there. I've been putting the sets together. I think I've got 3 or 4, full complete sets of that. And I mean, that's, if people who are watching this that don't know, that's a real money card. Like that set.
Oh yeah.
Because you had Jordan, Ewing, Elijah one, Barkley, Malone. I mean, you had all those rookie cards in that set. So I mean, that's Dominique. That's an insane set to have. Mel Turpin, one of my favorite cats of all time. It's an insane set of cards. I could talk about that all day. We got 2 questions left, and we're already at an hour. So, question 9. And I want to talk about your YouTube channel a little bit, that's what I'm telling you, people. Like, normally, this is like question 3 or 4. And I was like, at least I got to ask about his channel. The dude has a YouTube channel, so I got to at least ask that. Yeah. So channels Geek Out with Rosko, some of the content that you do, Rosko's Late Night Addiction, Between the Lines. And wasn't that on Cardboard's channel?
We would switch back and forth.
You go back and forth?
Yeah. So,
and then Check Your Shorts, which I love. I think that's awesome. But tell people about your channel, the type of content you're doing. Those specific, segments.
Okay. So I started a channel because I actually was asked to be on Lamer Frame, and I got bit by the YouTube bug. And
that was actually the first time I think I heard your name. I was on Lamer Frame. And you had sent something that you had drawn, like you would draw along with, and you would send them to Bearded, and he would show them, and I was like, God, who is this guy?
So that's how I got started, though. I was on Lamer Frame, and then, like I said, I got bit by the YouTube bug, started my own channel, and I do a lot of mostly I do comic book related stuff, like I show books or different hauls or stuff I get. But Rosko's Late Night Addiction has turned into where I'm showing stuff that either I get giveaway wins or AOKs that have been sent to me. The one I just did recently was this past Wednesday, and I got some incredible stuff that I was floored. I was floored with the generosity from this community. I absolutely love this community. It's so amazing. Best community in the world. But I just have to say, the stuff that I received, I could not believe. But yeah, on Rosko's Late Night Addiction, I usually unbox a lot of stuff. And sometimes I have TM Nerdy, Travis, TM Nerdy on. And we like to
dancer.
Yeah. But we read a lot of the same books. So what happens is we like to talk about the books that we read, and then we also like shows and movies and stuff like that. If we've watched it, like Stranger Things, we talked about Stranger Things. So it's with that show, it's more of like TV related. I mean, there was a time where I was having it kind of like not as like just off the cuff. It was more structured, where I would be like, all right, my question is, what is your favorite food to eat when it's cold out? You know what I mean? Like something weird, but some, I'll get back to it. If I have more people on and, I get it more scheduled, I may do that. But Between the Lines is with my buddy Cardboard Crazies. And, we had come up with an idea because we both are artists. We were trying to figure out a show. He goes, hey man, I'd love to do a show with you. And I was like, yeah, man, I'd love to do a show with you too, bro. And he's like, well, is there something that we can maybe do, because we both like to draw? And so I was like, I told him, I was like, man, I think I might have a cool idea, because I was talking to Bearded, and Bearded Comic Bro had mentioned that there was a guy who used to drink and draw. And I can't remember who it was, but I don't think he's no longer on YouTube. But he used to do like a drink and draw type of thing. And he's like, oh, why don't you guys do something like that where you talk? And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. But then I was like, well, let's put a different like spin on it. And I figured, let me see if we can get someone on and if they'd want to draw with us. It was kind of tough because a lot of people don't want to draw.
Sure.
And it's like especially because they're like, oh, well, you guys are artists, you're going to show us up. That's not what we're meant to, we're just here to have fun. We want to interview you, and you can draw whatever you want. We're not telling you have to draw like this masterpiece. You could draw like bubble letters. You can draw like, something just like to draw, doodle. you know, and so like because we're the doodle dudes, you know, we're not drawing any masterpiece, we're just having fun, we're just drawing,
Sure.
you know, and so what we do is we would interview a person, and then we'd all draw at the same time, and at the end we would show what we drew, and we usually have a topic related usually to our guest. For example, when we had Nick's Kicks and Comics on, the theme was Spider-Man because, you know, he's a Spider-Man fan. So we did stuff related. I think I drew Spider-Ham that night, but yeah. So I mean that's always been a fun show, and I was able to. We did have one pretty big guest on, Ben Templesmith.
Oh yeah, I know Ben Templesmith is. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Awesome guy. Great guy. Great interview. Like he's just having fun. He does not care. Like he's Australian, and you know how Lee from Whack Comics is. So just imagine. But yeah, no. But he was really great. After the show, he even stayed backstage and we talked for like, I don't even know, another 45 minutes. Just a super great guy. But that was awesome when I got to have Ben Templesmith on. I thought I was like floored. But super nice guy. But yeah, we got to get back into that. Me and Chris had taken a little hiatus from that show, but we got to get back into getting Between the Lines going. And then and another show, Check Your Shorts is really fun. Yeah, I've been trying to like more base it on like people in the community. And I think the last one I did, I think was DJ Links. I think I did the one on was DJ Links. So yeah, but I definitely have one in the making that is actually going to have me as the focal point. So I can't wait. But that will be coming out within the next week or so. So keep an eye out for Check Your Shorts. But yeah, that was fun. I did Rod the Rican. That one's a lot of people's favorites. But yeah, that one's a fun one, man. I'm just having fun. And like I did Whack Comics. I make sure I send them to the people first. Yeah, I also did Chip, White Shadow. Yeah. But like, Ty Locks, I'm going after, look out, I'm going after Drac. Don't tell him. But yeah, but I make sure I send it to him first before I put these out. I just want to make sure that, I don't like to be disrespectful in case someone's like, like Lee, when I sent it to Lee and he goes, I don't care if you would have put it without my permission. It's like, all right, well, I just want to make sure, but it's all in fun. Like I said, I love this community. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's a great segment. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so question 10.
Yes, sir.
And you mentioned DJ Links' name, and I've wanted to ask somebody this. And you're on here, and you were on the most recent rap battle as a judge.
Oh, yes.
How hard is that to actually judge? Because, dude, like when DJ started doing that, right, when he first started, it was good, but like it is on a whole other level now.
Yeah.
With Comic Head 84 and Drac, and Remy Q is like a human. I don't know. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I'm more and more impressed every time I watch it. How hard is it to judge that show?
Dude, it's insane. I mean, because like at first, it was like, okay, I mean, these are just comic book collecting guys, that like music. And then it's like, now they're starting to get this, like, their confidence is now like on another level. Because now it's like, I'm ready to do this kind of thing. So, but yeah, I mean that it's tough. It's way too hard to judge some of these guys, cause it's like, oh my gosh, that was freaking awesome. I mean, like, oh my gosh, and so when you judge, like I constantly am having to write, what they've tried to say.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, is are you writing down, like when somebody drops a really sweet line, because you'll come back and say, hey, when you said this, and I'm like, how did he remember that? Because I'm just watching it.
Oh yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and then I'm just like writing and stuff he said. But it's definitely, it's fun to be a judge, but at the same time, it's very difficult to, because a lot of times you're like, also you're like, all right, well, this is my boy, but at the same time, it's like, you did good, but the other guy was just a little bit better, you know what I mean? And you feel bad, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's all in good fun. Sure. So, but let me tell you, overall, though, I mean, DJ Lynx, did awesome, but going against Drac, but Drac is unreal too.
He's a wordsmith, dude.
Yeah, so I mean, and then you had Remy, like when Remy went up against Comic Head, when he went up against Kenny. I mean, that was super tough too. I mean, like it's very difficult to be a judge, but at the same time, I mean, I'm gonna be at home watching it anyway. Sure. And so when Lynx is like, "Hey man, I'm like, well, I'm gonna be watching it. Heck yeah, I'll be there." And then I'm like, "Oh, what did I get myself into?" And now since it's like they're more seasoned. Now it's even getting more difficult. I mean, sure. So at first it was tough, like, because it was like, oh, well, but now I've got a couple, I've done it 3 times now. I think I've been a judge on there maybe 2 or 3 times. And it's a lot of fun. I love that show. All those men are talented. Unbelievable. Yeah, they are. I mean, it's crazy that, like I said, these guys that, they're comic book collectors, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, okay, well, they listen to me. They're not rappers. You're not going to, the studio or anything, like, but, now they have this new passion, and it's awesome. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite shows.
Are you a music fan? Are you like a rap fan or a hip hop fan?
I love all music. I mean, it doesn't matter. I love everything. I can find love in any kind of music.
Yeah, me too. So. Music's that one thing. It's interesting how music is that one thing that you can hear a song and your brain, for whatever reason, instantly takes you back to a place or a time, where that song meant something. It's just I'm like that too. I love everything. There's not a genre of music I don't love. Country's probably my least favorite, which is odd being where I'm from. Everybody here loves country music, but I'm more of a Metallica guy.
Okay.
But I also love I am a Metallica guy. Like, that is my favorite band of all time. I love Metallica. But I love rap. I love hip hop. I love jazz. I love like Jamaican music. Like island music. I love that stuff. Just any music. Just, I don't know. It just makes life a little better. And that's why I love in the mix the rap battles, is because you get to enjoy something you love, but you're getting to see people that and love really grow in what they're doing. I mean, that show's it's just on a completely different level now.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun. It's unbelievable. But like you were saying, I find joy in a lot of music. I mean, I can listen to opera, I can listen to country, I can listen to 80s, I can listen. You know what I mean? I can listen to even like some like hardcore heavy like metal music. Some of the drumming is phenomenal. I mean, even like the screamo stuff, I'm like, that's not like where I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to that now, but I can listen to it and respect the drumming or the guitaring that is like absolutely, like, that's just phenomenal. But like I said, I love music. I mean, there's not a day that goes by in my life that I don't listen to music once.
What was on, what is that channel? There's nothing on it except for infomercials and music. Anyway, I don't know. There was a whole, I think it was Memorial Day weekend. What is it? Axe? Anyway, it doesn't matter. They had a bunch of concerts on, and like Motley Crue was on. So I started recording, and I watched the Rage Against the Machine the other night, and I didn't. I forgot that this had happened, but they were competing for the #1 song at Christmas. "Killing in the Name of" was against some. It was like the European version of American Idol, and it had been the #1 Christmas song every year since that show had been on. And then Rage ended up, their fans got behind it, ended up making "Killing in the Name of" the #1 song, and they went to Europe and played a free show, and I guess they recorded the show, and it was insane. And you're right. The drumming, and I guess just listen, because I'm a huge Rage fan. I remember seeing them at Lollapalooza 30 years ago, and they came out, and I didn't even know who they were. It's the only time I've ever been in a mosh pit and got scared, because we were really close to the stage. Rage comes out, and that's when Bulls on Parade came out. And De La Rocha was sitting in the back. You could see him, and he was sitting in the back just kind of bouncing up and down as it was going wah, 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 wah. And you could see him. He was just sitting there breathing. And he comes out, "Come with it now." And the crowd opened up into this massive mosh pit. And I was right in the middle of it. And it was insane. And I just had to go with it. I just, I was throwing bows and in there and just, getting it back. But anyway, it had been a long time. And I watched that show and I'd forgot how heavy the drums are, how heavy the bass is. And then the guitarist is just, doing all his name escapes me right now, but just doing all the stuff he does on the guitar, man. It's so cool.
Oh yeah. You can't beat live, man. You can't beat live.
Mm-mm.
Live shows are, I try to see a live show every single year. I try to see a live show. So, but and it's only when this one band. So,
who's the band?
I'm a big Dave Matthews Band fan.
Love Dave, dude. Dave Matthews is one of the best live shows I've ever seen, and I'm not a huge Dave Matthews fan. But live, if you like music, live, there is nothing like it. Those guys are unbelievable musicians. Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. It's amazing. And it's not that it's just like the music. There's also, they put on a wild light show.
Yes.
It's just a whole experience. It's not, it's not even a concert. It's an experience. And that's why I go, here in Florida, he comes to Florida every year. So, for the last 19 years, I've gone and seen him 14 or 15 times. And so it's, we were actually, it sucks. I was supposed to go last weekend or the weekend before, and they had to cancel the show. I was so upset because I haven't been there in 3 years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this. And so I was like, we're definitely going. And then we're on our way there. Literally we're driving there and we're 15 minutes, 20 minutes away from getting there because we get there to tailgate and it's a whole day, and so what happened was we get a phone call from 1-800 number and it's like, what the heck? Our buddy who's down there already goes, hey man, a 1-800 number just called me, concert's canceled, someone has COVID in the band, canceled. And I went, oh my goodness. So
COVID, if it had been the flu, they'd just played through that. They'd just played through COVID, got to cancel the whole thing. Freaking COVID. Yeah.
I know, and it was crazy because what happened was too is that they were like, oh man, there's going to be a horrible rainstorm and thunderstorms and stuff. So it's kind of good that it didn't happen. It blew past. It was a beautiful night. I was so pissed, but they did reschedule. So we're going in August. So let's just hope August is a little far away. You never know.
You never know, right? Yeah, this day and time. Well, brother, that's a great place to end. That has been your 10 questions. Rosko, dude, I appreciate you being on. I've had an absolute blast. If you're watching this, I'll link all Rosko stuff down in the description below so that you can go find him. Hit him up for a commission. Rosko, what do you charge for your commissions?
Okay, so it depends on the cover. If I, normally if I do just a front cover, I usually charge around 65. For a full wraparound, it's 85.
Okay, good deal. All right, guys, go hit my boy up. Like I said, absolute superhero. Love this cat. So excited to be able to, it's an honor for me to have him on 10 Questions. And I've had an absolute
I'm honored. I'm honored, brother. This is amazing. I couldn't believe when you hit me up and I'm like, me?
Yes, you. Yeah, dude, you're awesome. Yeah, no. So the honor's been all mine, guys. Geek Out with Rosko. This has been 10 Questions.